Chris Spicher.
I'm Mary Goldstein. We are here with our second guest, Shannon Avazian from Assisted Living Locations.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Yourself?
Good.
So you're a little nervous being on the radio for the first time?
I am.
This is one of the many services that the Chamber of Commerce provides. It gives you a chance to get out and do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
We have our own radio show. What was your decision for joining the Lancaster Chamber?
I actually just wanted to be a part of the community and get to know, different business people and be a part of the community. And
Good. And so what is Assisted Living Locators?
we are like a eHarmony in the industry. So we match seniors with care providers such as independent living, assisted living, memory care, in-home care services, anything like that.
And how does your service work?
So we actually do an in-depth assessment.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go to the home, we meet with the clients, we'll do a medical assessment, and then also we provide tours for the family. We go in and we know the local community.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is we actually,
You kind of put things together.
yes,
You got the need and the services, and you know how to
yes.
kind of walk that minefield. So what does the service cost?
It's a no-cost referral service, and so we actually get paid on the behalf of the properties that we work with in our network. And so we are a total free service for our seniors.
So when should a family give you a call? Now, presuming that the person who needs the housing has a family,
Right.
but I guess in your experience, everybody has some member of the family or somebody that's caring for them?
You know, what it is we're working with adult children that are dealing with the aging parents. And so many of us have gone through it, including myself. I've been there. And so it's better when you see the signs happening to call us ahead of time. We can, get a plan A, B, or C, and it's just better to kind of have that in place
Right.
before there's an actual emergency.
Yeah, I'm just, when you say that, I think of my mom. She's 92 and she's in great shape. She lives next door to us, but maybe after we go through the script here, I'll ask you a couple more questions. So what's the price range for assisted living?
Well, that's, it can range from up to $2,000 to $8,000. It just depends on what people are looking for. But the average cost is $2,600 to $5,500. That's a typical range for this area.
And that includes the meals, right?
That includes everything. So it's your rent, it's your meals, it's utilities, it's transportation to and from the doctors. A lot of people don't consider that when they actually just think of that. They don't realize that they're not going to have to pay all those other added expenses when they're not at home.
Yeah. We talked about the price range. What should families be looking for when they're considering alternative care options?
What should they be looking for? They need to actually start looking for the signs of
Like, what does your loved one's day look like?
yeah, so
how do they eat?
yeah, so basically it's how is your loved one at home? So many of us go there, we visit and we leave, but we don't really look at how our loved one is. And they may not be eating, they may not be taking medication properly, and we pop in and we pop out, but are they able to cook their meals the way they used to? Are they able to operate the ovens, microwave? We need to really take some time and look what's going on in the house.
So this is like, if the questions are like, can they use the stove?
Yeah.
So this is presuming they can get out of bed,
Right.
because there's all different sorts of care.
There's all sorts of different stages, and there's over 150 different types of dementia. And so, you think of dementia and you're like, oh, or Alzheimer's, and it's the end, stage. But there's so many different variations of that. And it can be really, just not forgetting little things, and that's the beginning stages of dementia.
And there's no specific timeline to how long this whole process takes.
No, there really isn't. I mean, you know, usually from a diagnosis on a standpoint of dementia, it's usually 5 years. But a lot of times, you know, that it can be a couple years before it gets diagnosed. Because you just think mom's missing, you know, a piece of paper here and there, she's forgetting dates, but really what that is, it's the beginning stages of dementia. And a lot of us go through denial and we're not facing or even recognizing what to see.
You mentioned warning signs, and that would be one of them.
Oh, yeah.
But we just kind of laugh it off, don't we?
We do.
Just,
No, we do,
you're just
yeah.
like- but yeah, that's a serious deal.
No, it is. You know, I remember when my mom called me and forgot my birthday. You know, I was devastated.
Yeah,
You know.
but then you go, oh, mom forgot my birthday. That's unusual.
Right.
It's something different.
Well, and it's kind of scary too, because also the, you know, mom's sitting there and she knows that she's forgetting things.
Mhm.
And she's scared if she comes to you and says, hey, I'm forgetting something, that you're going to step in and all of a sudden, you know, you're going to take over. And that's really not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get her the appropriate care. And there's so many different options. It's not just moving into assisted living. So you can have an in-home care provider come in and just kind of monitor her medications, make sure she's eating, you know, and that would take off some of that stress for you and for her.
And that's a service that your company can
Yes.
set up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, that would be a big help.
Yeah, so there's so many different options. So it's really about, you know, making that phone call and finding out. You know, we live in a technology world, and, you know, I don't know about you, but we look at Google, and Google doesn't tell us the whole picture.
It's a lot of advertising.
Yeah, and it's the paid top producers
Right.
that you're going to see. So what we do is we actually specialize in the local community. So my territory is Antelope Valley through Santa Clarita, and I know and work with, you know, over 200 different small boarding cares, the big communities, you know, and a lot of those homes you would never even see on Google.
Right. Yeah,
So.
and they may be the perfect place for
Oh.
mom or dad.
And, you know, I don't know if I mentioned, but like with my family experience, my husband was terminal. And I took care of my mom at the same time. She was terminal.
Whew.
And his grandmother was living in Atria, located in Santa Clarita. So that all happened at the same time when I took care of my 5-year-old and 3-year-old. So
Very stressful.
very stressful. So I understand what's involved for the working adult that's trying to manage mom, dad, and also their own life.
That's about 4 full-time jobs all
Yeah.
at once.
Yeah. And so back to that, you know, I actually, because my husband was on hospice, I asked my mom to go into the assisted living, and that was against her wishes. She didn't want that, but I couldn't manage. We were going back and forth between 911 calls, and it just got to a point where I had to do that. And so we got her into assisted living, and they actually, within 6 months, she was eating properly, she was taking her medication properly, you know,
Yeah.
everything was starting, and she was able to leave there and go
Wow.
back home for another 5 years.
Wow.
And she was terminal,
Yeah.
you know, her lungs, because she wasn't doing what, you know, eating and the medication properly, and it's just such an important,
So she'd pay attention to the people in the assisted living, and she wouldn't
well, at
cooperate.
home, yeah, she's not, you know, at home, you know, they're eating ice cream.
Yeah,
I can't say I blame them, but.
ice cream's delicious stuff. So how do people find you? How do people find?
So basically, you know, it's word of mouth. And so that's part of my outreach program. I'm here today to try and tell everyone I'm here. A lot of people don't know there is such a service. You know, they can contact me via website or my phone number.
661-544-1004. I bet they could even call the Lancaster Chamber and ask Anna or Sharon,
Absolutely.
where do I find Shannon, assisted living locators? Let's see. That was the next question. How do families get a hold of you?
Yeah, and you know what I like to do is, you know, I like to meet with the families, because there's so many, you know, you hear a price and you say, oh, I don't meet that price point, but really call me, because there's some different programs that I know about that you may not know of, and I can get some additional resources if you fit in that criteria.
It's not like buying a car,
No, it's really, every family's unique,
right?
their care, their social, and their budget. And we're actually able to do some really neat things. So I highly recommend you call me.
Well, you gave a success story with your mom. Any other stories that
You know,
came out way different than you thought they were
yeah,
going to?
you know, I just recently had somebody who actually said she didn't fit in the budget. And so we had someone referred her into a Medi-Cal property. And as you know, those probably wouldn't be the best of the best. And she actually had to leave a nicer facility because she had depleted her funds. And the family called me because it turned out so bad. And we actually were able to place her the next day into one of the small homes. And we just, you know, made it work with the family. And I came up with some creative thinking that they didn't think of. And within, you know, like I said, it was within the next day, and they couldn't be happier.
Wow.
You know, grandma's safe, they're not getting the phone calls they were getting, and everybody's happy is a real success story.
You put some effort into that.
Yeah, yeah, well, everybody has a part in that,
Right.
so.
Yeah, it's the service and the family and the person that needs the extra care.
Mhm. And it's really what I love to do. This is my passion.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, it's actually a franchise, so I just purchased the franchise in November, but they've been doing it since 2003. They started in the Mecca retirement community in Arizona, and we have over 103 nationwide. So even if you need somebody placed in Mississippi, we can do that.
We've been talking with Shannon Avazian, Assisted Living Locators. Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for